Hey there, welcome to the Agents of Revival podcast. If you're ready to be healed and take full accountability of your life by evolving into your best self, then this is the podcast for you. I am your host, Andrea Griffin Rogers, and I'll share with you winning steps as well as personal tips and anecdotes on how to go from brokenness to wholeness and from scattered pieces to inner peace. So come on in and join me on this healing journey, and let's become whole together. Enjoy it! Hey, what's up, guys? How are you today? I pray all is well. This message stirs your faith, falls on good ground, produces good fruit in your lives. Today, we are talking about goodbye, strong friends. Child, goodbye, strong friends. It's so interesting that here in America, I am constantly seeing on social media and hearing people post and comment and talk about and text threads and whatnot, strong friends. And it's like, what actually is strength? See, people think that being a strong friend, a strong person, a strong family member is a person that can just take everything on them. Like if you think about a conveyor belt or something, and they're able to just take everything piled on them, and they think that they will never sink. And so as long as you can hold it all up, or not even a conveyor belt, I'm thinking of a ship that has a shipping containers on it. And people think that, as long as the ship is able to hold it up, then it makes it strong. It makes it weak. Because any little thing can go wrong and that boat can sink. Just like anything else. Now, we're not shipping containers, of course. We're human beings. And I find it so sad that human beings have gotten to the point in society where we think that brawny strength, brute force, anger, aggression, being over anxious, dealing with stress, being worn out, and yet still being able to hold everything on your shoulders and carrying it like a big old bag is applauded. I think that's so sad. Because we were never meant to be created like that. We were always meant to be for community. And when communities play their role the way they're supposed to, then every person doesn't need to be everything. One person can be who they need to be and trust that somebody else will help them and have their back. We have become a society that is so doggy dog, that is so, only if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Will I do something for you? There's so much selfishness in this world today. And we think we'll get better? No. You get better by owning up to the fact that you need help. That you need assistance. It is commendable for you to be honest and say, I need help. I'm tired of being the strong friend. I'm tired of being the strong parent. I'm tired of being the strong sister. I'm tired of being a strong brother. I'm tired of being the strong mentor. I'm tired of being the strong provider. I'm tired of being the strong everything. It is okay to admit that you are feeling worn out. It's okay to admit that you cannot do it all by yourself. You're not meant to. And honestly, the biggest problem is that people don't want to trust anymore. We've gotten to a point as a culture, as a world, where people are so afraid of trusting in anybody that they will very quickly rather throw somebody under the bus than to trust that you are actually going to help open the door for them. I have encountered so many people who have been broken and hurt but consider themselves strong friends, and you're not. You're not. You've just masked it well. Or you think you masked it well, rather, but you didn't mask it. Oh, I'm a strong person, but you got a nasty attitude. You're not strong at all. It's coming through your attitude. Your brokenness is coming through your attitude. See, a lot of these strong people, it's a perception from your brokenness. It's an arrogant ego trip that makes you feel like pride says, I have to hold everything up. I have to do everything. I have to be everything because this is what people think about me. It's almost like another form of people pleasing. Because you feel as though if you be honest to say, I'm not as strong as you think I am. I actually am dealing with a broken ankle right now. I actually feel a little weak right now. I'm actually stressed out right now and I need some help. You think that the minute you say that, somebody is going to belittle you. And so you please people in a very different way by being arrogant and prideful to say, I don't need help. I don't need nobody. I could do it all by myself. But you were never created to do it that way. You were always meant to have help. When God created the entire world, he looked at Adam in Genesis chapter 1 and he said, man should not be alone. I'm going to create a helpmate for him. Or I'm going to create a helper for him. Now, most people have heard that story before in culture and they have misconstrued the text because you have never read the text for yourself. Even people in church, you've never read the text for yourself. So you think that scripture meant when he said, I'm going to create a helpmate for him, that it was immediate Eve. It wasn't. He first created the animals and brought the animals to Adam or man and said, name the animals. He gave him a job, basically. He gave him an assignment, something to do to occupy his time. And then in him doing that, when he realized that what Adam, or rather the man at that time was just called the man, was looking for was not among the animals, then God put him to sleep and created Eve. A matched helper, a human being that could help manage the assignment, that could help manage the kingdom assignment and mandate that was on man's life at that time. And actually, I wasn't even meaning to go into this, but let's just go into it. Let's just flow. We got flowing us. Most people want relationships and never take the time to see and investigate, are we actually equally yoked? Am I actually really the helpmate or helpmeet, as certain translations, the Bible says, for you? That means, can I meet the requirements to actually help you on your assignment? Now, most people can help in anything, but are you graced to help is very different. I've learned that in my life. For example, I had a conversation with somebody a while ago, and one thing they said to me was, I am not graced to hear people's problems all day long. Like, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the patience for that. I don't care to do that. My response back was, well, I am, because that doesn't bother me to be on the phone with anybody for hours on end, giving them advice and wise counsel. That I love it. But that person now, while they said, yes, I have been in instances where I do, because of my job, listen to people's problems. And so I try to have empathy in the way I do it. But if you ask me, do I really care to do it? No. So that just goes to show, and just by using that example, that yeah, people can help you in anything. But are they graced to help you for it is very different. Do they actually have something in them, a spiritual gift in them that mandates them to use that gift? Not everybody has the same gift, just like not everybody has the same talent. That's why we need one another. You got people who can act, but they can't sing. And you got people who can sing, but they can't act. Doesn't mean that you need one or the other, because you need both. What's a movie without sound and music? But what's also a music video without acting? So you need both. Doesn't mean that the artist has to have everything. No, because for example, a musical artist may not know how to act, but they can hire an acting coach who does know how to act, that could then train them what they need for the moment that they need it in. And so anybody can help in something. Doesn't mean you're graced for it. It just means that I can use that assistance right now for my assignment, but then that's it. And so back to relationships. We're in teaching in a vision series right now. And one of the parts of vision that I want you to understand, as I talked about before, is the right team needed to see your vision grow and help you execute your vision. Who are you in a relationship with right now that does not share your vision? What I mean by that, I mean, you have an idea of how you want your career to go. You got your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. You got your plans for your life. You know how many kids you want. If you don't have any kids, or if you do, you know how many kids you want to stop at. Okay. You know the type of career you want to go. You know the type of path. Again, it's all you, because most people didn't ask God. So you're just going off of you. You know what you like, what career path you want to go into, how far you want to go in your career, where you want to live to pursue your career, where you're not willing to live, all that stuff. But the person that you're with, do they fit that bill to match what you're trying to do? Or if you're trying to live in a mansion, for example, but they want to live in a shack in my jungle, that's not going to mix. Because my vision is to go over here to do this, and your vision is to go over there. Also, if it's a person who feels like, oh, I'm good all by myself, but you want to be in a relationship with that person, you're not going to click. Because that person does not have the mindset. They think they're strong enough to do life by themselves. They're not going to humble themselves to let you join in with them. They'll receive from you what they feel like they want to get from you, but all the while keep reminding you that they don't need you. And so you're going to constantly have this tug of war thing as you're trying to be a part of their life. It is an unrealistic expectation to think that you are meant to do life alone. That's not to say that everybody's supposed to get married. No. Because you can still be single your entire life and still have community around you. It's just going to be a different type of community. They still have companionship around you. It's going to be, again, in the form of community and not in the form of a spouse. And some of us are meant to be married. And when it comes to relationships, you got to, first of all, be honest with yourself to evaluate where you are first. That's why I've been teaching this entire season and also throughout this entire podcast about you, not them, you. Because if you have the mentality that I'm the strong friend, I don't need nobody help, and I don't need you, I don't even want you, I could do it by myself, then boo, you will always be in the struggle of trying to get ahead. Thinking that you don't need community. Thinking that you don't need help. And most people that have that mentality are people that are hurting. You are hurting inside, but nobody has either allowed you to be vulnerable enough to be honest with your hurt, but more importantly, you have not allowed yourself to be honest with your hurt. Because it's not nobody's job to find out why you're hurting. I know you would love for people to really keep digging and asking you how you doing and what's really wrong, but it's not their job. But we are meant to share in each other's burdens. And so you have to find the right team. I call it the 5-finger ministry team. And this is not people that are in ministry per se. I just mean that these are 4 different groups of people. I'll tell you what the 5th is in a minute. 4 different groups of people who are meant to help you on your journey of life. And how I developed these was because of what I saw impacted my life, especially during a tough time. The first one, which is like your thumb, is the Holy Spirit. Because just like with your hand, your thumb is closest to your heart. So you need his wisdom, guidance, and discernment to find and to utilize the remaining people I'm going to give you. The first finger is a licensed therapist or Christian counselor. I prefer a counselor who believes in the faith that you believe in, because they can then marry and tie into your faith with the coping mechanisms and life skill sets they're going to give you to help you strategize the best way to get out of your situation, to get healed, basically. Number 2, which is the middle finger, you need a spiritual mentor. You need somebody that is going to stand taller than anybody else, because they have lived life and they've been walking with God long enough to be able to guide you in faith towards your destiny. The next one, which is the ring finger, is a spiritual life coach. They're the ones that's going to help you navigate the terrain of the playing field of your life, because they can see how the enemy is about to line up and give you the right coaching in order to win against your enemy or against your opponent. They also will be there to cheer you on as you go through the process of healing. And then the last one, which is the pinky, is a support group. This is normally 2 to 3 people. At the max, I would say 5, but really minimum start about 2 people that will help you on your journey, but they have been through what you're going through. And maybe they haven't been through the exact thing, but they have been through at least something similar to what you're going through, to be able to give you guidance and wisdom and to hold you accountable for what you're going through and how you heal. It's time to say goodbye to strong friends. It's time to realize that we need each other. It's time to realize that you need helpers in your life. And if you want to be in a relationship, it's time to realize, if you are already in one, is this person really the right fit for me? Are they really going to help me? Are they helping me now? Because if they're not helping you now, they're not going to help you going forward. You can just hang it up. I don't care how much you want to keep pretending and believing and hoping and praying that they will be a helper for your dreams and goals, aspirations, as well as they will help you if you become sick and need care. They won't. I have seen it time and time again in my life and other people's lives where people have been down and out, sick, shut in, need assistance, and the very person that they were in relationships with didn't help them none. Bare minimum. And yet they still stayed. What? Why limit what God can do in your life because you want to keep being a strong friend? Well, I mean, at least, for example, he took me, he did something for my birthday, so at least that's fine. Yeah, but what about when you were sick and needed care and he wasn't around? Oh, he bought you some soup, but he didn't cook the soup for you. He bought you the groceries and brought it to the house, but you had to do everything else yourself. You had to nurse yourself back to health. See, a real helper jumps right in to help you. That's the point of helping. If I'm sick, I don't feel like standing up to make myself some soup. So you're supposed to be my helper. That's the moment where I need your help. If I'm injured, if I had surgery, for example, I remember I had surgery on my hand. That means I have one hand left, and it wasn't even my strongest hand because I'm right-handed. So it's my left hand that I had because I had surgery on my right hand. So I had to use my left hand. So what I really need is somebody who has another right hand and left hand to help me do the work I need to do. Because I couldn't do it at that time. But most people will just settle for either being the strong friend while still dragging somebody else along that you shouldn't be yoked with anyway. How can 2 walk together unless they agree on the direction? That's what I'm talking about here. Who in your life do you need to be separating from? because y'all do not agree on a destination. You want to move to a mansion. They want to move to a shack. You want to get your college degree. They want to just settle at having a 8th grade education level or a high school level. And that's it. You want to become the boss someday of your company. They're okay with just being an assistant. And not even assistant to your dream. They're okay with just being an assistant at their job because at least it's making minimum wage, and that's fine. And if you're somebody out there that makes it, I'm not shaming you, but I'm saying God wanted you to have dominion. He didn't want you to stay stuck at a low level position. He wanted you to elevate. So what is stopping you from elevating? It is time to say goodbye to strong friends and recognize your weaknesses and where you need to improve. Your weakness could be your mindset. You got to get rid of that stinking thinking. Poverty is not just a state of the economy. It is a state of mind. Change your mind, change your situation. But as long as you keep thinking that you don't have enough, you will never have enough. As long as you keep thinking you too poor to do anything, then you will stay poor to do anything. Everything starts with a thought. Everything we see in this world today that we love, even our technology, started with a thought. And that person had enough belief in their thought to put in some action to move it forward, to develop it, and to see it come into manifestation. What is in you that you keep putting on the back burner? You taking care of everything and everybody else, but negating your own self. But you feel like you the strong friend, the strong person, because you carrying a load of everything and everybody else and not taking care of yourself at all. I used to be a caregiver to my late grandmother. And I remember, one of our moments before she passed away, she was wheelchair bound. I was so weak carrying her wheelchair down the steps as I was taking her to the doctors that I was so afraid I was about to drop her. Now, normally for years, I never had a problem with picking her up, putting her in her wheelchair, carrying her in her wheelchair, carrying the wheelchair. I had never had any problems. But that particular day, I will never forget it, because I literally was praying the entire time, shaking, scared. I felt the weakness in my body. I realized in that moment, you are not strong as you think you are. You have been doing this a long time in your own strength, and you never stopped to ask God for help. Oh, I asked people for help. I did. And most gave me excuses as to why they could not help. Saw me struggling, never helped. So I did it by myself. Talked about me like a dirty dog. Oh, yeah, they talk, baby. Could never sacrifice to do what I did to care for somebody else. To lay down your life for one's friend, like Jesus says. I did that. And they talked about me for doing that, but never offered any help. And so I remember I was about to drop her. I'm in the care of another human being. And my body is so weak because I had carried the load of being the strong friend for so long, the strong granddaughter for so long, the strong person in my family for so long. I was breaking. I was the person who people come to for money because I had it. I was the person who people come to advice because I had it. I was the person that if somebody needed help, I was there because that's just who I am. Until I got so weak. And when I recognized my weakness and then started to ask for help and acknowledge to people that I'm actually weak. Oh yeah, that's when I started to see who really was for me. I started to realize who really were helpers and who weren't. I was in a relationship at that time. Offered limited help. Basically breadcrumbs. I talked about that before. Breadcrumbs. Just gave me enough breadcrumbs to keep coming back, thinking that they were doing a lot. They weren't, because they holding the whole loaf of bread basically, but they would just give me little breadcrumbs while they're dining on the whole loaf of bread. I need the whole loaf of bread, or at least half of it, but you giving me breadcrumbs? And that's when I realized, you're not for me. You're not really helping me. I got to separate from this situation. They were friends that I thought were my ride or die. I thought they were helpers. And so I realized, wait a minute. I need care and you're not helping me. I'll give you one example before we get out of here. I had a friend. Now, this was several years into my Job Wilderness season. I was dealing with that at that time, fighting for my life, literally fighting to stay alive because my body was so weak. I had lost so much blood. And they was doing a blood transfusion. And so I had left the hospital of my own accord. Foolish, I know, because I literally was right back in the next day. So that was something foolish. I had to live and learn. But I left the hospital and I was like, I really need some groceries because I didn't have any food in the house. Now I had money at that time to get my own groceries, but I did not have the strength in my body because my oxygen levels were low. Everything. I mean, everything was really low. Now, not too low to the point that the doctors didn't okay the discharge. But they still were like, we really think you should stay here because you're not better. And I was like, no, I just want to go home. And so they couldn't keep me by law, so they let me go. And I remember asking a particular friend, I said, hey, listen, friend, I know you have a food delivery service account. Well, I'll just say I know you have an account with Amazon. And we know that Amazon has partnered with Whole Foods, so they'll deliver food or whatever. I said, since you have an Amazon Prime account, now I don't tell anybody to do this, but for me at that moment, I needed food. I was too weak to go into the market to shop myself. So I said, can I use your account this one time? I'll give you the money. I just need to use your code, your Amazon Prime code, so that I can get groceries delivered to my house this one time because I'm too weak and I'm too sick to go to the market myself. Again, I'll give you the money. I just need that done. And my friend said to me, no. And for me, it was life or death. Like, I cannot get to the market for myself because of a serious health condition. I know I need to be back in the hospital, which I did go back to the hospital the next day. But still, it was like, okay, but in this moment, I really need to go to the market and I'm asking you for help and you don't want to give me help? Then I said, okay, well, would you mind going to the market for me? Again, I'll give you the money. I even pay for your gas. Would you mind going to the market for me? Again, no. Wow. I thought you was my friend. And here I am in a life and death situation, and you are offering no help. And so who is in your life right now, whether it's a relationship or a friendship, and you keep trying to be that strong friend, not willing to admit that you're weak? Because maybe part of, like for me, the process of you admitting that you aren't as strong as you think you are, and nobody, I want to say this really quickly, nobody's strong. I want to put that out there. Nobody is a strong friend, a strong person. We need to get rid of that word altogether. Nobody is. Everybody has an area of weakness. And only your pride would say, I'm not weak in nothing. That's a lie. Everybody has an area where they need help in because we don't know it all. And so, who in your life do you need to take stock of? Because like for me, part of why I needed to go through that process and needed to be able to admit to people that I was weak was to see who on my team, so that I can have clearer vision of who really is for me and who's against me. Now I gave y'all 2 examples. Take from it what you need. I get this last example before we go. Family. There were family members that knew I was sick, that knew, I even had one family member that I had just came out of surgery and asked for help. and because they were taking me back home from the hospital from surgery. I just had surgery in my hand. I asked for help to get dressed because I couldn't dress myself clearly because my hand just came out of surgery and it's wrapped in bandages. And they would not help me at all. And so I had to then call for a nurse to come and help me get dressed, while they just sat there and did nothing. Didn't even want to carry my stuff. So thankfully a nurse said, well, I'll just put you in a wheelchair and roll you out to the car. So I learned there are certain people that are not your helpers. But I had to go through a hard time to recognize that I wasn't strong as I thought I was, and to recognize that I actually need people in my life that actually will help me. And so take from this what you need. Maybe you need to evaluate the people in your life to really see, are you carrying loads that God never intended for you to carry? Because just like in each situation, I can give you this before I close. When I got out of that relationship that I realized was not for me, I saw God send me people who were for me. When I ended that friendship, or rather when God ended that friendship that was not serving any purpose of value, that was not willing to help me, God sent other people in the form of my support group that actually went to the markets for me and they helped me. And in terms of when I was too sick to care for myself, same thing. God sent other people that did come and help me. But you will never know what God can bring your way in terms of helpers if you're always trying to be that strong friend. If you always are trying to lie to yourself to say you don't need any help. And if you are always having blurred vision of actually who is really around you, that's not serving any purpose or value in your life. You've got to be willing to say goodbye to strong friends. And that includes you too. So we got to get out of here. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Cause his face to shine upon you. May the Lord God be gracious to you. Show you his favor and give his shalom. Give his peace. Take care. Love you guys. Bye now.